broadcast. Oh, it's completely out of place. There we go. There we go. Okay, so we've sorted that. Welcome to our next live broadcast. That one was a little bit hairy, that startup. I apologise. We have a couple of crews standing by just for our Game Master mission. You'll get to see this one from the Game Master's point of view because I'm going to be running this one. You can see that I've got a Captain's map selected already and a Game Master map with a main screen, so the Artemis definitely will spawn. We're just going to get this running for crews in just a second. I need to pass on the mission orders to them. I've been having a look, and Fish and I have been just talking over one or two ideas, haven't we, Fish?
Indeed.
All right. Okay, could you give the signal to Matthew Vaj just to start the server for us?
Certainly.
Okay, so I'm going to be watching here on my Game Master console for the server startup. And as soon as that's running, I'm going to start giving them the mission orders. So command to warships, stand by while systems come online. Okay, here we go. I can tell the server started. Let's get into that Game Master console. And we are going to be spawning them in Cerberus Sector 5. I'm going to spawn them straight at the forward command base so we can have them straight in there. Place the GM.
Artemis, you are in fleet command.
This command and control to all ships.
Go ahead.
You've been deployed in Cerberus Sector 5 on the forward command bases. We recently received reports of a transport vessel that went missing in the vicinity. We need you to move into the nebulas beyond the border and try and locate the transport vessel, lend any assistance that is required, or determine the fate of that vessel.
Confirm command.
Alright, so my aim is to have them go into the nebula.
Your search area is going to be through Delta 1 through Echo 4. Artemis will take Alpha 1 through Charlie 4.
What do I think? I could spawn a couple of creatures to kind of throw them off the scent, or I could spawn a Scarab to give them some combat early on. And actually, I could do some points of interest. Let's get some points of interest in here. So scan points I can use to drop down some like signatures. So maybe Targoth weapon signature here, Krellian energy signature here. Let's do another Targoth weapon signature next to the Krellian one. Hull signature. Comms signature maybe over here, and maybe a couple of Scaran ones. Jump signature from a Scaran and a slingshot. So the slingshot signature, this is the location where I'm going to have the Krellians actually coming in. So that's scan point 6 there. If I select that, let's get rid of that menu. Come on, that's it. Okay, so if I select that there, you've got Trace Tritonic Phase Pulse. We've got Disrupted Gravimetric Radiation Field, that's the cloaking signature. Phased Deuteronic Ion Particle Trails. And over here we've got the Trillium Photon Emissions, the bioelectric pulses. So the bioelectric pulses, for science officers who kind of get to grips with all this, that signifies a comms transmission. So all those little extra story elements. Where do we think we're going to have this stranded transport vessel? Just by scan point 4, what do you think, Fish?
Yeah, why not? But let's not drop it until they're right on top of them.
Yeah, I'm going to drop in 1 or 2 Scarans just to keep them occupied.
Indeed.
So down here, particularly by 0.5. So let's get I'm going to go for a single Scaran, see how they handle it. I want to see what happens. I might drop in some Rex just for a bit of intrigue. So points of interest. So I've got a scan signature there, so I think I'm going to drop in some debris here. Maybe a Corellian wreck as if it's been hit by something, and then when they get to that actual position, I'll drop in the transport with a couple of like escort vessels, so it looks like a Corellian's being crippled and ended up having to abandon ship. So hegemony.
That's good. Not the Intrepid's completely ignored that Scaran.
Well, interestingly, if I switch to the captain's map, they can't see that Scaran.
Ah, it's cloaked itself.
So
I did notice them scanning it earlier.
Hegemony. Let's get. There we go. So actually, I wonder if I can give that Scaran some AI to attack the Intrepid. I want that Scaran to focus on players, so I'm going to switch its AI to hunt players. And hopefully that will reset its AI stack. So that Corellian ship there... Oh, actually moving to the point where I want to put in the transport vessel. So USFP, and let's drop in a bulk cargo there, and let's go TSN.
Intrepid, we've got comms recording weird sensor readings on your location. Keep wary.
2 escorts there, and then we're going to have Scarans who are guarding the wrecks.
Yeah, Artemis, there's a Syrian right here somewhere cloaked.
So let's get Scaran here, and a Scaran here. So these Scarans being the ones that were guarding the wreck, waiting for the Corellians to return. I can see here what's on the screen. Intrepid looks like it's tracking those Scarans. Now, I want to drop in Corellians in here where number 6 is, that scan location, but I don't want to see them. I want to make it look like they've appeared from a jump from those slingshots. So we use that cannon idea, don't we, of these slingshot arrays. So what I'm going to do is go to interactions, and I'm going to reduce their sensor range, and they're not going to know that the sensor range has been reduced, so I'm going to set it to 11,000 here. So they won't know that that sensor range has been reduced. And now I'm going to throw in some hegemony fleets, so I can spawn hegemony fleets, and if I go to captain's map, they can't see what I'm spawning right now. And then what I'll do is I'll assign particular AI to these hegemony fleets, so that they're going to do what I want them to do. It's little techniques like that I use to be able to give myself some breathing space while I'm getting things into position. So Juliet group down here, I want them to hunt bases. Hotel group, I want them to hunt players.
I think Intrepid's about to discover
a nasty surprise. Hotel group, hunt players. There we go, Intrepid's discovering them. Right, I'm going to switch back to my interactions menu, and I'm going to readjust those sensors so they're back to full, so they're not going to be dropping in and out. Here we go, Intrepid has just been ambushed. The Artemis is tackling that Scaran. At the minute, it looks like they're having some problems with tackling that Scaran.
It's
Hotel group there. It looks like its AI is being reassigned. I'm going to get Lima group. They're going to go for one of the bases. So hunt the base. And Kilo group I'm going to set as hunting players. Hunt players, so it's just going to change their priorities slightly.
Artemis might be in trouble.
Let's have a look.
No, they've got no shields, but they've got some only light damage at the minute.
Command to Artemis, we're reading the status of your ship being damaged. Can you report on your status?
TSN Artemis, we're engaging a Skarn executor at this time.
Acknowledged, Artemis.
Intrepid, this is command. We're reading the Artemis is in a little bit of trouble. We don't want to lose that ship in this engagement. We need to recover anything that we
Intrepid,
can.
we've gained damage. We're falling back to Charlie 3
that transport
and
vessel.
back to the stations.
Acknowledged, Artemis.
So I'm going to switch back to Game Master. What I want them to do is get a marine team and an engineer team onto the bulk cargo to see if they can determine what has happened to it.
Yeah, Artemis was all the way down to 25% warp drive.
Alright. Was Artemis on the fleet command?
I think they heard us.
Artemis, are you going to be able to get away?
Intrepid, we've got low energy. We would appreciate your help.
It's command to all ships.
Command, go ahead.
We're super low in energy ourselves.
We've managed to identify the bulk cargo from your sensor scans. We need you to put an engineering team aboard and a marine team to determine what happened, see if there's any survivors aboard there. We're also going to do some active scans to see if we can see any life pods deployed in the area. Right, so this is where I
Confirm
deployed
command.
a couple of rendezvous
We're
points.
going back to restock and resupply, and we'll do that as soon as we can.
Let's have a look. We are 27 minutes into this mission, so marine actions. I want to deploy marines, so there's one rendezvous point, and going back to rendezvous points here. Engineer actions and deploy engineers. So I've got two rendezvous points here, designated marine drop zone and an engineer drop zone. And what they'll have to do is they'll have to load up a shuttle with the right loadout, so they'll have to load it up with engineers, or they'll have to load it up with a marine team and drop them on those points. All the while they've got these enemies progressing towards their target. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take direct control of a Kilo group. They're going to be attempting to salvage
we've
the
run
target.
dry on energy.
I'm also going to have Lima group. They're going to try and
Acknowledged, Artemis.
go for DS67 to throw a bit of a spanner in the works. So Lima group, I'm going to have you go that way, please. Let's see on the captain's map. Hotel group I'm going to leave, and Juliet group I'm going to leave. I'm just going to let them do their own thing. So by using these AI controls, I can direct control of enemies, and I can really frustrate the plans of the players. They all expect them to move in a certain direction or a certain speed, and I can kind of override that. You think, Fish, is that enough for now?
I think they've got a fair bit to chew on, especially if that Kilo group ends up defending the rendezvous points.
So as Game Master, I'm just going to be watching where that Kilo group is and that Lima group is, so that they don't overshoot the intended targets. I'm going to try and steer that Lima group through the gap in grid Delta 4 there, and I'm going to try and get that Kilo group stopped right on top of the rendezvous points to force them to have to engage.
Command, are our ships equipped with fuel collection systems at this time?
This is command to all ships. That's confirmed. You should have fuel collection systems aboard your ships. and they have been tested and are active. Yeah, I don't want to throw anything more at them now. Otherwise, they're going to end up getting bogged down in enemies, and it'll start to frustrate things a little bit. Most important thing is to give an enjoyable mission. Right, I'm watching that Kilo group. They're starting to approach that. I want to get the Kilo group back onto default AI, so they're going to move to attack the Intrepid. There we go. Perfect. And then I'm watching the Lima group. It's about time that I get them to move into position. So if I go with that command there. So they're now on about the right course. I'll have to steer them around those mines a little bit. I'm going to watch very carefully that Kilo group that's engaging the Intrepid. If Intrepid wipes them out really quickly or really manages to cripple that fleet, I'm going to draw off the hotel group and take them over there to keep them tied up and busy. You can see the status messages coming through on the Game Master screen as well, seeing that they've managed to get the Marine teams loaded up. Oh, it looks like the hotel group are throwing a card.
We're launching our shuttle with Marines for the transport.
Intrepid taking a lot of drones there. What do you think? Or in fact, the Theseus now taking all those drones.
Oh, they could lose that shuttle if they're not careful.
I need to get moving that. Oh, they have. Intrepid, we just read the destruction of the Theseus. Can you report?
We lost the Theseus.
As confirmed, that means you're down to one shuttle. Hopefully we can get recovery crews aboard from the Artemis. I'm going to communicate with the Artemis now. Artemis, this is Command and Control.
Go ahead, Command.
Artemis, the Intrepid report that they lost the Theseus to enemy fire. Well, that means we've only got one more shuttle. We need to get Marine teams and an engineer team aboard that vessel, so be very careful with that shuttle, please.
Aye, Command. Prioritizing shuttle.
Alright. It's a fatal move, I think, that that we've seen through the weekend, isn't it? Deploying the shuttle too close to enemies. Alright, Lima group, I need to watch that, otherwise they're going to go straight into that minefield, and I do not want that. I think I just managed to get them in time. I steer them away a little bit more. Yep. Looks like Intrepid is returning to base. That means I need to move that Kilo group back onto those rendezvous points.
Yeah, I'm getting the feeling that the Artemis has a very weak crew on it.
Are you thinking their experience is a little bit lower?
Certainly from their behaviour, they was sitting around DS-31 for minutes on end for no apparent reason. I think there have been fuel collection, but it would have been much quicker for them to dock at the station. So we might have to be careful with them.
I think what I'll do is I'll deploy some reinforcements for them to give them a bit of a hand. So, it's just we've detected enemy forces getting very close to the bases. We're going to deploy some reinforcements to assist in defense of DS-67. So I want TSN and let's see, TSN ships, TSN fleet.
Just quickly, Artemis is bearing me down on the rendezvous.
Yeah.
Kilo's well off.
It's alright. I'm concentrating on trying to give them some reinforcements for the Intrepid here.
They've launched the Proteus in the middle of nowhere.
Alright, we got some destroyers there now. Intrepid doing a good job of leading the enemies away from DS-67. Kilo fleet over here, they're close enough, I think, to the rendezvous point. I want to give them a little bit of slack around there, I think.
Yeah.
Now then, these allies, let's take direct control of them. Or are they gonna be doing their thing? Their allies. Comms on. Default AI. Hunt enemy. Hunt enemy. Hunt enemy.
Oh!
Hunt enemy.
Intrepid just squeaked through the minefield.
Yeah, if they can lead the enemies onto that minefield, they'll be doing well. Artemis getting very, very close to those enemy fleets. That Kilo fleet and that Hotel fleet. I wonder if I can change their AI just to. Oh no, it's fine. They're doing it on their own. Right, so I've got those 4 allies closing. I want them to close a bit quicker, so I'm going to increase their speed, give them that support a little bit quicker. So that was on 0.6, that's on plus 0.6, that's on plus 0.6, and so is that. And with this AI comms on here, it should mean that if they want to, they can direct them. Intrepid, this is command.
Go ahead, Intrepid.
Allied forces nearby should be responding to your comms orders. If they're not, can you communicate with us and we'll relay orders to them?
Roger that.
Intrepid looks like it's doing a good job leading all those enemies onto that minefield. Don't know where these guys are going. They're turning to re-engage. See what happens. Here we go. A bit of a clash going on here. So that Lima fleet, I want them to engage the allies. I'm going to switch their commands. Hunt neutral. There we go. Artemis holding up the fort over there.
Proteus slowly drifting towards the rendezvous.
Yep, I see it. It's almost like it's trying to sneak in. There we go. The allies are now engaging. That's good. Although they seem to have handled the situation over here now.
We might have to throw some more enemies at them soon. Yeah, the Artemis does with that grouping though.
I think what I'll do is, just to keep it a little bit lighter, I'll be throwing just some Scarans at them or something, or maybe a small enemy fleet. Okay, not quite sure what these allies are doing at the minute.
Looks like Intrepid is instructing them.
Alright, okay. It looks like the Intrepid is telling them to get out of the way. Could have been nice assistance there from.
We've given them the ability, although it looks like if the comms officer is paying attention, November 24 is going to run straight into those minefields.
Yeah, I think what I'll have to do is take direct control of that so it doesn't. We don't want them actually running into minefields here. We want.
Send them a comms message from November 24 saying, "Are you really sure?"
Yeah, they've directed them straight onto the base, TS67. Let's give the allies something to play with. They're a lot more powerful than I think people give them credit for. So we're going to have a light Scarab pop out here. If I can Scarab light. There we go.
Well done, Intrepid, defending DS67.
There goes a Scaran. It's not on their screen at the moment.
Once you've restocked, please come assist with Kilo. We're going to try and take these guys down with heavies.
Acknowledged, Artemis.
You're going too far now. I want to switch to standard default AI behavior. And this one, hunt enemy. What time are we on? We've got about 20 minutes left of this mission. So the primary objective is to actually get 2 teams off on there, determine that there's 1 or 2 crews, and activate the signals for the life pods, and then get them off. That's the primary objective. But they've, I think they've been distracted by the red dots.
Looks like Proteus is finding it difficult to get to the rendezvous. They're sort of drifting around the different objects.
Oh, Artemis has just been destroyed. Right, whereabouts were they when they were destroyed? Were they against that Kilo group?
Yep.
TSN Intrepid Command, Artemis is down. We got overrun.
Roger that, Intrepid. Proteus is still out though. That's going to cause us some issues, I think.
Yeah, doesn't have a home ship to refuel. It might be just best to give them a do-over. Mike 78 towed him out.
Yeah, Intrepid, stand by. We're going to try and re-establish connection to Artemis.
Roger that, CSE.
Right. So, Artemis, this is Command and Control.
Go ahead, Command.
Artemis, you can bring your systems back online. You'll have to repair your damage though, so stand by once you have.
Confirm, Command.
So I'm going to place them about here so it looks like they've drifted a little bit. As soon as they are back in. Fish, do you think you could jump on and select the main screen to spawn them?
Yeah.
I'm going to have to grab them quickly.
ID is 31.
Right, select GM. Okay, and interactions. I need to get on interactions really quick. Repairs and damage. And damage ship. Damage beams. Damage torpedoes. Damage sensors. Damage maneuver. Impulse. Warp. Shields. Rear shields. And I'm going to kill one of their damcon teams as well. And I might even set random damage, so they're going to be taking random damage for a little bit.
Proteus is under attack. Please move to defend them.
So they'll be taking random damage on their systems because they were destroyed. That's what this is. If I want to switch that random damage
they're going
off,
to lose Proteus.
Oh dear. They're going to have to get the Intrepid over there to defend. So if they lose Proteus, what do we do? It looks like the Intrepid might have just about saved them.
Well, the Artemis has probably got another shuttle on board now, hasn't it?
We'll see. Artemis, this is Command. Can you give us the status of your shuttle, please?
Artemis, Proteus is heavily damaged and away from the ship at the moment.
Confirm. See if you can get Proteus to redock. You may have to abandon it a bit depending on your damage, but we'll see once you manage to get Proteus back aboard. Yeah, I think you're definitely right that Artemis seeming a crew that's a little bit less experienced, so I need to take that into account with what they're doing. It looks like the allies are coming in though. They might be bringing those across to bring them into play a little bit more. can you see the comms messages coming through there?
Look here.
I've not got a comms screen on this, I'm afraid.
Yeah, looks like they've got the other two forming up on Oscar 58, which they're directing off this way.
Command, we seem to have found a second shuttle. The engineering boys have managed to scrounge up a second shuttle from our hold.
Confirmed, Artemis. Is your second shuttle named Proteus?
It has been painted as such, yes.
Roger that. What we'll do is we'll get you to abandon the current deployed Proteus and deploy your infantry shuttle. Okay, that's what we call hand-wavium.
Artemis Intrepid.
Artemis might be in big trouble again. Oh, they've got some warp drive. It's going to be...
I'm going to delete the Proteus there. It looks like they're just getting out of trouble. Those allies coming in, what they want to do really is a comms officer. I'd try and get them a closer pack together so they're not going in one at a time.
Yeah.
Intrepid, can you have your comm cycle buttons?
Might give them a sneaky hand.
Roger, Artemis.
Go on, what are you thinking, Fish?
I'm just going to get the lead ship to go and one of the backer ones. I should gather them up nicely, and they'll then.
I mean, we've got 3 destroyers there. Those should be able to strip the shields off the Targoth at least, if they can engage them bit by bit. The Artemis looks like it's lining up for these rendezvous points. I think what I'll do is I'll leave the enemies there. I'm not going to drop any more enemies on them for the time being. If I feel like there might be too much of a lull between the combat, I will probably throw in a couple of Scarans or maybe a small
Intrepid.
Go ahead, Intrepid.
Be advised, we have no Marine teams on board.
There we go. That's a really nice formation of destroyers, that now. Are they managing to kill that Targoth?
You're doing some significant damage to it.
Yeah, definitely. And if the Artemis, if the Intrepid jumps in there as well, they're gonna destroy that Targoth pretty well. There we go. Look at that. Never underestimate the power of your allied ships.
Command, we're having problems with shuttle systems. We are apparently unable to load Marine teams into the shuttle.
Artemis, this is Command. Could you confirm what is the issue exactly? Is it the communications buttons? No, because they lost the Proteus while it was still out. It may not have reset the communications, but it'll be classed as destroyed whilst deployed. Do you have comms buttons, Fish?
I do.
Can you check? Yeah, check in for me. In fact, while you're doing that, I'm gonna.
Command, trying to unload Proteus pops up the message of loading Proteus.
Stand by whilst we configure Proteus as requested. Can you just cycle the comms buttons for me, Fish? Yeah, there we go. Let's come on to Artemis. You may need to deploy and retrieve the Proteus. See if that cycles the systems. Right, so that's Proteus out. And Proteus retrieved. Right, I'm going to negative, no cargo to unload. Try loading them up with Marines. Stand by whilst we configure. Marine teams are loaded. Artemis, from looking at the comms screen, it looks like you may have resolved the situation with that maneuver. We're reading Marine teams loaded. Right, so the Intrepid's not going to have much to do at this point, so what I think I'll do is I might just throw in a Scar to keep them occupied.
Command, we're taking damage over time without overheating.
That's confirmed, Artemis. That's likely battle damage due to your engagement earlier in loss of the ship. We expect that to clear up as soon as you've been able to dock. However, your priority is to try and recover the wreck. We are requesting that you just send a marine search team on board. We may have to abandon this wreck. So I'm going to get rid of rendezvous point 2. So it limits what they've got to do. So I'll delete selected. I'm going to move rendezvous point 1 out slightly, just so it's a little bit more in the clear so they can see it. There we go. So rendezvous point 1 is still that marine drop zone. Let's throw a Scar in here and let's keep them occupied. It's the thing, you want to keep the enemies there, so there's something to engage with and something to keep people on board, but at the same time I don't want to throw too much at them now because I need them to achieve that objective. Artemis, looks like you were successful deploying those marine teams. Can you confirm?
Command, marine teams have been deployed on the cargo ship.
Confirm. We're linking in with their communications now. We'll relay to you once we've got status updates. All ships' marine teams have been deployed. They're beginning their search of the wreck now. So I very much prefer voice communication for bits like that instead of text, because I find that having to type with text can take a little bit too long for me.
Indeed, it's much quicker to put on a funny voice.
Or just pretend you're relaying it.
Yes.
Okay, so I need to take into account that the Artemis is a single ship with a single shuttle. The Intrepid doesn't have a shuttle. And the Artemis will continue to take damage. If on main screen. Nope. It's a shame.
I'm wondering if they're going to be in. Considering there's only like 7-8 minutes left of the session, it might be worth throwing them a bone.
Well, I'm thinking what I'll do is I'm going to spawn a life pod, and that's going to be the Marines coming out with casualties. Then they just need to pick up that life pod and fall back, and I'll send in security forces to clear up and make sure the area is right. They've got 3 Scarans at the moment. Just to finish off, you're right, Greybeard. We're just live streaming a game at the minute. Just so
no problem. I just figured I'd check in and see how things are going.
No problem. All ships confirming Marines have managed to find some survivors aboard. Looks like the Artemis.
Intrepid, we were tractored.
I don't have any beams.
Acknowledge, Artemis. Do you think you're going to need help?
We don't have beams. We will need help.
Is beams being damaged from random damage?
On our way.
In fact, they're in a horrible state.
Alright, okay. I'm going to switch that random damage off now then. If I can. If I set all on and then oh dear. It looks like I've lost control with cycling my console. Repair beams, there we go. Are we going to lose the Artemis again?
Maybe give him a quick teleport.
Swear the Intrepid needs to. So I'm just trying to preserve them until the Intrepid can arrive, basically. All ships' marine teams are going to be launching life pods. They'll be aboard with casualties. They'll just need recovering. Once they're recovered, you are clear to fall back to the stations. So I'm just going to launch one life pod for them to retrieve, because I think the comms officer was finding it tricky. Hey, they managed to kill the Scaran. So I think, is it in? No, it's in spawn. I moved these round, and sometimes I forget where I put them. Here we go.
Intrepid, this is Artemis. We are combat ineffective at this time. We'll try and get the life pod.
Life pod
we will work to defend you, but our energy is kind of low.
Life pod is active. We are tracking it now. Once you've recovered the life pod, you're clear to fall back to DS67 or DS31. So that will be their mission objectives fulfilled. I've got 4 minutes left, so hopefully it's not going to take them too long. This is where timing is really hard to gauge. You've got to hope that they can fulfill that final objective in the time that you want. There goes the Proteus. So the Proteus should have been unloaded anyway, because they dropped off their marine teams. What have we got coming up next on the schedule?
I think it's one more GM game and.
Artemis, Intrepid, go ahead.
There was
the
race event 4, yeah.
Refuel, and then we'll be back to defend you.
So
in the meantime, friendlies are in the area.
I'm going to be back with Christopher
We'll be
doing the
following you
commentary on that one.
as soon as we've got Proteus.
There we go. They've got the life pod.
Roger.
Proteus is retrieved. They're falling back. Excellent. Sector clear. All ships, congratulations. Managed to pick up the injured crew from that area. The Allies are going to move in and just secure the area and try and retrieve the wreckage of that transport vessel. You are clear to move and dock with one of the stations. As soon as you are, we'll be standing in our systems. Alright, I'm going to let them wrap it up by going all the way back to base, and I'm going to take control of these allies. I'm going to switch it off so they can't give them comms orders anymore. And I'm going to move my allies in so that they move on to that place. Move on to that location.
Oh, and there's a little finesse, maybe spawn a mine layer to come and respawn those mines.
So going to the spawn menu. Nice thing is with the AI menu, I can keep that open while I go into the spawn menu. TSN ship, mine layer. Okay.
And this looks like they want to hit that one mine.
Are they?
Oh.
I might also deploy like the a transport ship or an engineering ship to move. Oscar 5-6, nicely in position there. This is what they can see at the minute. Mine layer there. Papa 4-7. Let's move them into position.
Ship stocked.
Excellent.
Command, Intrepid and Artemis are docked at DS-67.
As confirmed, we've dispatched a mine layer to relay the perimeter defences, and allies are moving into position to secure the area around the wreckage. Good job, guys. You can debrief your crews and stand down. And we're going to shut down ship systems there. There we go.
User left your channel.
And completed. Well, that was another GM mission. That was an interesting one. That filled quite a bit of time. What do you think?
Yeah, a nice little off-the-cuff mission to keep a couple of crews occupied. And I hope they enjoyed it. I hope that Artemis didn't find it too frustrating. They got into a fair bit of difficulty on a couple of occasions there.
Yeah, it was hard to get the balance there, but at the same time, when they were destroyed, I didn't want to let them have it easy, because it's too easy to just go, oh yeah, you destroyed, here's your damage, fix it, and off you go again. But instead, when they were destroyed, I gave them that constant systems damage. So you won't have seen it on my screen, but their engineer would have been having to battle damage all over the ship constantly that was just refreshing all the time with that auto damage. That's why they find themselves in difficulty against that second Scarron. It's tricky, isn't it, to try and adjust to the level of what your crews are, because you could see, I think the Intrepid definitely showed its experience there. They looked much more comfortable and at home in the engagements. The Artemis maybe finding it a little bit tricky in the heavier engagements and the shuttle deployments.
Indeed.
And then having to adapt it on the fly, because they lost one of the shuttles, and the other shuttle was almost out of action. I was panicking a little bit there. Alright, thank you very much for watching. We are going to finish this live stream there and then move on to our next race broadcast. Fish, you're going to be race controller for that one, aren't you?
Yeah, unless Raiden turns up at the last minute.
Yeah, I'll be with Kristen on the commentary again. We kind of enjoyed the commentary, so we're going to bring that back. I know Kristen's been working with the sponsors to bring more sponsorship messages.
Well, we all need every cent of credit we can get.
Alright, thanks very much for watching. See you in a few moments.